All right, and we are back, and we have been able to get a more stable connection with our students in Cuba. We're joined once again, if you're just tuning in, by medical students at Escuela Latinoamericana de Medicine. De Medicina, sorry. We have Sean Escobar, Delbert Jacobs, and Thomas Cock. And I know you have some concerns that you wanted to bring out on behalf of the students. Since we don't have the most stable connection, I'm just going to ask you guys to go ahead and share what's happening.
Okay, like I was saying, like to reiterate, they have cut our stipends. So it has made it extremely difficult for us to, I don't want to say survive, but to live here. Mm-hmm. Because the thing is, there is an opportunity to get money from home, but through an organization by the name of Fincemex, who controls Western Union, which is the only other way that we could receive money from home. With the recent restrictions on the embargo, they have blocked it. So I would like the Belizeans to think that the only way we could receive money into Cuba is from our stipend. That $150 that we got is the only thing that we have here. There is no other way for us. For some people, there is no other way for them to get money.
Yeah.
Wow.
With that as well, what I want to elaborate more on the stipend cut has drastically affected us. It was a stipend cut of about 33% of our stipend. Our normal stipend is monthly from the government is 150 US, and it's about 50 US. So it would be just 100 Belize monthly, just 100 US monthly. Sorry for that. And what that entails for us is that even with the 150 US that would be our normal stipend, that would have provided the basic necessity for us. That would have been given us the opportunity to obtain our own basic necessities.
Yes.
Even before the pandemic, even with all the struggles and the restrictions of already products here in Cuba before the pandemic itself. Now, with the more recent restrictions and reduction of our stipend, what that does is decrease our spending potential. One, there's been less, and it's been very, very difficult to get certain basic necessities such as hygiene products. Toothpaste, people are price gouging on general products such as toothpaste. 100 grams of toothpaste will run you about 15 to 20 American here right now.
What?
And that increases the spending potential. The spending potential of every dollar that we got from the government of Belize. So with the reduction of the two key factors we need to take away from this. With the reduction of the stipend, we already can't buy as much basic necessities. And it was just minimal with the 150. Now with the reduction of that, we reduce what we can buy. And with the price gouging, given the pandemic, given the situation and the limited amount of resources Cuba has, although they have been providing us as much as they can, and we are so grateful for that, the actual dollar value, the spending potential of each dollar that we get has been drastically reduced, and it affects us greatly.
What about access? Access to the products that you need. We know that it's not. I mean, it's hard for people to understand, but it's not like we could just go to we can go to the supermarket here. It's not the same for you there. How much access do you have to what you need?
Well, first of all, it's important to what you have to do is you have to go stand up in lines. Yeah. Usually, there's only certain stores that have certain products. So it's not like you could go to any store and get everything that you need. So one store might have oil, and another store might have some kind of like milk. So you have to go to different stores. And because of the pandemic, all the food, all the hygiene products that were there, it's limited, and you're not only with the other students here, that you have to fight with the Cubans, because they also need these products for themselves. So it's like, so you have to wake up early in the morning. Now with us, we're in a school with just foreigners. So the school implemented rules that try to control the coronavirus. So we were in quarantine since March, which was very good. Now we are able to leave now, but we have to leave after 12 o'clock. That's the time that we get to leave. So and that time is from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. So we can't get up early in the morning, and we can't go to these stores because the lines are already long. and it has a ticket system. So sometimes you have to go the day before, early in the morning, and then you come back the next day to get your products. But we are limited in our movement, and that's also because they're trying to control the spread of the virus in Cuba.
Yeah.
So what's important for us is bringing our hygiene products from home. Now, with the food, we receive 3 meals a day from the school. The Cuban government provides 3 meals a day. But what we need, what we're in desperate need of, is hygiene, shampoo, deodorant, hygiene products. Those are very limited over here. And like my countryman said, like Sean said, the prices are really high. 20 CUC, that's 20 US. So imagine you going to buy 1 tube of toothpaste at 20 US, and with the reduction in the stipend, so you're gonna spend 100 US on 5 tubes of toothpaste. That's why we need the stipend. We were surviving before with it. With the 150, we could get what we need in Cuba, but because of the embargo and because of the virus, there's a limited amount of products. And then at the same time, we can't buy as much as before.
Thomas, a lot of people are still ignorant to what life is like over there, or how you guys live there, and it's tough to know that for $20 US, that's for a toothpaste, that's a little tough. Or as a matter of fact, that's very tough. Now, if you guys were able to receive products from home, would you be able to actually receive these products then? If our country was able to send products there, would you be able to get it?
Okay.
Would they give it to you?
Yes, if the government is involved and if the government sends these products for us, we would be able to receive them, because they would need to coordinate with the Cuban government, and the Cuban government is very open to our government. They have been relations for, I believe, almost 25 years. So it's not something that would be difficult. Now, the problem is, as you know, is back home. We're not asking for the government to buy these products for us. Our families, our friends, they will be the one purchasing these products for us, and just asking the government to help us find a way to get these products to us. And that's all we need, because we can't get it here. It's not like we could go and make toothpaste.
Yeah.
We need this stuff from home, and usually
I think it's important what you're saying, because you're not asking to go back to the previous stipend. You're asking because you understand the financial issues here.
Yeah.
You're just asking for access for the embassies to coordinate some sort of care package to be sent over to the students. And but I want to get into something here, Thomas. You are a second-year student. I'm assuming you're the one there the longest out of everyone there. Okay, so because people will hear what you're saying and they'll think this is what it's always like in Cuba. Is this just a circumstance of the shortages due to the pandemic and the crisis they're having there?
Well, I've been in Cuba for 3 years, so it's always been a situation where it's different from home. Everything usually was limited, and this is not the fault of the Cuban government. It's the embargo that causes. They can't get products from everywhere due to trade relations with other countries in the world. But we could cope with it, you know? We could move around freely looking for stuff. There was more products on the shelves, and we used to go home. So it was important for us to travel usually summers, and the people that could during the Christmas break. And that's when majority of the food items or majority of the hygiene products that we need, because we usually buy them at home or in Mexico where the price is cheaper. And that would last us for the duration of our time here. It's not like we're going home and we're bringing back clothes or we're bringing back shoes or accessories. That's not necessary. We're bringing back stuff that we need here to survive. And because of the pandemic, there's restrictions on travel internationally. So we can't move around freely. Now, I was to come home in July. All of us were supposed to come home. The next problem that we have is with the quarantine fee, because
like we mentioned earlier, it's not that we could go home and pay that $1,000 because that's the money that we could use as to buy our products to come back. And that's the reason why majority of the students that are here did not go home this break.
Oh, you mean the mandatory quarantine that costs 1,500?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I know that for some people it just isn't affordable to be able to cover that cost.
Yeah.
So, you have been able to make it to this point, but you're saying now that you really need some help. And what you're asking for is some kind of facilitation of having family members or people who want to donate send products to you. Have you been speaking to people at the embassy there or made contact with people here?
Yeah, in this case, yes, we have. We have been making several lobbying factors with the embassy, trying to relay possible solutions for us as students here in Cuba. As Thomas has explained, even before the pandemic, it has always been a struggle.
Yeah.
It has been going home, restocking supplies, and especially for those in provinces, keep in mind, we as students are in Havana. This is the central part, essentially, of Cuba. We have normally the access to more items, rather than the other students, the other Belizean students that exist in the more rural communities of Cuba. So when they have to travel, when we have to travel, we always make a stockpile. And like Thomas said, it's not clothes, it's not shoes, it's about food items and basic necessities. Even if they're shirt, some kind of comfort from home, the basic comforts for life, the basic comforts that we need for continuing studying. But in regards to the embassy now, we have made several requests from them. Early on into the pandemic, when Cuba recognized the pandemic in March, in very, very early March, the embassy did provide us with hand sanitizers and N95 masks. They did provide us with that very early on. Later on, they did provide us with a food care package that the students did have to pay for. They facilitated the transfer of food care packages, but it was without hygiene products as well. Now, also, this was as a request from the students to the embassy as well. They did try. They did do their best. And I have to commend Ms. Chantal Marina on this part as well, and as well as the other workers at the embassy. But also, we did also make other requests for the embassy, asking because being Belizean students on a scholarship-based need, and a needed scholarship financially, but also scholastically as well, we requested that if they could waive the fee of the quarantine fee because we cannot afford it, or at least give us a discount or some way that we can share the cost between students for the quarantine. And that was denied. We were told that how the fee must be paid because, of course, we do understand the cost of quarantine. The fee must be paid, but that's something realistically for us that we cannot undertake. We will be spending on quarantine and have nothing left to buy our supplies to people where we host. The other thing is as well, what we're really asking for is collaboration from the government of Belize to facilitate these transfers in a partnership with our families. Our families will bear the cost of the supplies of whatever weight and dimensions the government would allow, and they would just facilitate the transfer to us in Cuba. What we have been, granted it's unconfirmed, there is a possible confirmed flight in August that will take back the Belizeans that have already successfully graduated this year, which, by the way, felicidades for them. And with that same flight that they will have to send from Belize to Cuba and coming back, they can send or possibly put in, this is what we're trying to facilitate, having them try to facilitate putting cargo on that for the students that the families of each student have prepared to take to Cuba under our cost. And it's mostly focused on the hygiene products that we need. And one of the most overlooked factors is the psychological effect that this has on us. We have been, as Thomas said, and Delbert has mentioned as well, we have been coping. We have adjusted. In normal Cuba day-to-day life, we have been doing well and surviving yes, and focusing on school. And as Belizean students, we do excellent here.
Definitely.
But with this pandemic, with the restrictions of everything right now, and the scarce availability of certain supplies, that affects us psychologically because we're trying to focus. We're trying to be successful for self, for family, but especially for country.
Definitely.
And we have to be so concerned about, do I have this for tomorrow? Where can I get this? Or do I have to spend my little bit of money that I have left on getting this supply? Is this only available here? Is there another means of which I can get this from?
Yeah.
And that just takes a toll on us as students studying here in Cuba. And we are, as students of Cuba too, and with this scholarship exactly, they focus on a lot of human, of helping each other, where availability of proper and amazing healthcare should be available to everyone.
Yeah.
And we're getting about 14, 15 years of our lives with school and with working in Belize, that is exactly what we want, to give back to our country. And all we are asking is a facilitation of the transfer of cargo with partnership again from our families to bear that cost and to bring us supplies that we so desperately need at this time.
Sean, you guys, I'll tell you what, you're playing an excellent role as ambassadors, because once you leave your country, you're actually an ambassador for your country. You speak highly about it, and we're so appreciative of that. And I'll tell you what, after listening to the pitch, we are surely with you. Now you've made your pitch. Have you heard anything as yet in terms of a breakthrough? Have anybody reached out to you and anything said so far?
It does. No, not many people have reached out to us, because in reality, people think that, oh, we have like good over here, it is always something good. And just recently, there was a Facebook post yesterday, there were so much negative comments under that post. There were like comments like, oh, the students are spoiled, they don't need this. Yeah, we're not. We are trying our best. We are using our last to obtain whatever we need. So the negativity is the only thing that's very like from me. That's the only thing.
And in terms of them,
yeah, I was going to say it happens, and so I really wouldn't want you guys to be bogged down with some of the negative comments, because really and truly there are also a lot of people who are supporting. We have a viewer who's asking how they can help. They actually want to donate something and get something to you guys, and I think that's the general feeling people will have.
Yeah.
Is it even possible for people to send packages to you?
They would have to get in contact with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Yeah.
That they would have to facilitate whatever they have to, with the government. They would have to do it through Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Because we have, as students, of every Belizean student have here, especially with their family, they have asked us, in what way can we help? And the ways are, in this case, would be, used to be financially through Western Union, that Belizeans can't use to send from Belize to Cuba to their families or to their respective student that they want to send here to receive on this receiving end in Cuba.
Yeah.
And with that has limited greatly. And we recall when the stipend cut was announced to us officially, and in the paper, in the same government announcement, they mentioned how maybe the families can help us. And our families are willing to help. People are willing to help us. They really are. But there's no means of facilitating that help right now.
Yeah.
Financially, we won't receive any money. And only the U.S. can send to Cuba, but it's very limited. One, the states are limited, and they do give a lot of problems to try send. And not only that, there's only a select few that would have family in those states that would have the possibility of even trying to send a limited amount of students. But to provide for the vast majority of students, it is unavailable at this time. And that is the concern. We don't have any means of receiving right now financial support from our families and our friends or people in general that understand our cause, or material goods in terms of hygiene products, toothpaste, deodorant, feminine hygiene products, which are all extremely limited here.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, I'm so glad we have the opportunity to have this conversation, because for people who've never been there or never had family members who studied there, it's hard for us to understand why it's such a challenge. So you did get that cut in your stipend. Were you told how long the cut would be for?
Well, it's just for the academic year, the upcoming academic year that begins in September for us.
Okay.
But depending, we don't know if it's going to go back to the original amount or what's going to happen afterwards because of the economy. We know there's other, the government is making other financial budget cuts to different departments. We just heard about the healthcare system. And So we feel, so we're not asking, right? So we understand that.
Yeah.
We understand the problems that are back home.
Yeah.
And we want people in Belize to realize that we're not fighting
Yeah.
we're not really fighting for that money right now, because we do understand it's difficult on both sides. But we do need the support of our government, because at the end of the day, at the end of 7 years, we're gonna be coming back home, and we're gonna be helping the people back home as well. And we're gonna be working, because medicine is not something that you do to make money. You have to do it out of the kindness of your heart. And that's what Cuba has taught us, and that's why we came here, because we heard about the system. And if they could teach us how to be there to support each other, the government needs to support us as well, because we're in a time of need.
Yeah.
And it's different when you're studying in Cuba, and when you go home and you explain these little the experiences you have here. You explain it to your friends, you explain it to your family, and it's not something they could really understand until you come and live here. And it's also different being a scholarship student in Cuba and being a scholarship student in other parts of the world.
Yeah.
Because most of the other countries, they don't have a blockade. Most of the other countries, they produce majority of the products. So it's not something that you could say, oh, other scholarship students are feeling the same thing. Yes, we understand that every country has their own problems, but at the end of the day, we're asking for the government to try and see if they could help us.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, majority of the students would have been able to go home earlier, because if the government had waived the quarantine fee or facilitated some kind of discount. But because of that, majority of them are stuck here. So now we're asking for
So
the
school
government
is not in session right now?
Well, right now the school year is finished. Technically, it's finished.
Okay.
What happened in March when the coronavirus, when it was announced? They suspended the school year for the 3rd years to the 5th years. The 6th years continued with their guardians. They continued going to classes and working in the hospitals.
Oh, so you're
The
doing
people in
Guardia.
we continued with our school. So right now we're finished with our school year. So now in September, the pre-meds that are going to 1st years and the 1st years that are going into 2nd years, they will be starting the school year again. This is because Elam is a closed community. So we're not having interactions with the Cubans. We're not interacting with them. So they can continue school. They can continue schooling in Elam normal. Now for me, I'm a 2nd year. I'm going into 3rd year. I have to wait on the 3rd years to finish up their school year. That's going to be starting back in September. So now, unofficially, I've heard that I will not be starting classes until November. It's July right now. I'm finished classes, so I won't be doing anything from July until November, and I'm stuck here. I would have gone home if I could pay the quarantine, but it's unreasonable. And it's not just me. There's other 2nd years here. There's 7 of us that we want to try to go home to go and find a way to get money, to get products, and to come back in November. Because honestly, being stuck in Cuba for doing nothing for months, it's not something that's good mentally for us. There's a lot of fatigue, mental fatigue on us, and at the same time, that's why we're here asking for the help. And we're not doing it just for us. We're doing it for the people that are in the provinces as well.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I wanted to say, Delbert, you were saying, we have a lot of viewers right now who want to help, and so they're asking for quite a bit of things. They're asking if you can make a list of what you need in terms of products and post it online somewhere so they can see. And they're also asking if you guys have considered setting up a GoFundMe account so that they can help. And maybe it can't be to send money to Cuba, but maybe it can help some of you cover quarantine costs to come home or get the flight home. So I hear what you're saying, because it seems that people really do want to help.
Yes, the GoFundMe idea would be a good thing, because then you just buy products in bulk, and whenever they have the time to ship it, even if it is before the intended date for the cargo, we could literally put all those stuff that we raise funds from, and then we put them on the plane and then we bring it over here. Even though it won't be a lot, But everything that you guys are going to give right now is going to help us in some way.
And of course, we were buying for every student that's here currently, not just in LAM, not just in other, the limited other provinces, but every single Belizean student that would go towards.
Yeah.
We're just trying to find a place for everyone. And like Thomas said, in March, the 3rd to 5th years were cut classes. So from March, they haven't been having classes. When they start back in September, they do have to actually finish 3rd year. Like for example, if a student that's in 3rd year right now, they will start 4th year and have to finish the rest of the classes of 3rd year while doing 4th year at the same time. So that overload is already there. They haven't been able to go home for so long, limited supplies. Again, that whole psychological effect, not only restriction based on financially, but how are you going to deal with yourself, take care of yourself as individuals, and still have to come to an overload of work between mixing years. So
Yeah.
it all boils down to, it's a necessity because we, as students of Cuba, as students of Belize that are studying in Cuba, more properly said, we have always been able to cope and adjust with the life here. And we have been doing that successfully. And it has come to the point that we are in desperate need of these things. And this is why we are reaching out for the collaboration.
And the fact that you guys have been there for quite some time, I know that you are well aware that Cuba was a different way of life.
Yeah.
The fact that you're coming forward now, and I really hope that people are able to understand it a bit better. It's not that you're just complaining that you're getting less of a stipend. It's that that stipend is your only source of funds. Even if parents raise a lot of money, they can't get it to you. The only way you can get the money is what has been offered to you through your stipend. And I know I've read about some of the shortage in Cuba, so I can imagine how it makes it even harder for you to access. And now you're even speaking about the price gouging that's taking place.
Wow.
So you have spoken to the embassy there. It's always good to get it ventilated in the media, but it's always good to follow protocol as well. Have you followed up with talking to maybe the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and seeing if they can help to facilitate or that they're aware of your situation?
They are fully aware of the situation. We have been sending multiple emails, proposals, but the responding is, that's the problem, because every time we send an email, send a proposal, we know they are busy, but it should be some sort of priority because we're not any other country. This is Cuba, and it is different, and they need to understand that as well.
Yeah.
Well,
said.
I told you guys we'd put it out into the universe and we'd get a stable connection, and we did.
We did. We did.
And we wanted to help you to clarify what was the situation there. We know that you are studying medicine to come back here and to be able to offer healthcare services to the Belizean population when you finish. So we really hope that today's conversation will help you get the right ears to hear and get you some of the things that you need. Any good morning or shout out or
this is
your family's watching?
Well,
let me hear.
One thing I do really want to clarify is that we here as Belizean students studying medicine or the other fields of what every student here in Cuba right now, every single Belizean is doing it for a cause, especially us that are studying medicine right now. We are doing it on the basis that we are going back to help our country. We want to be part of our country's pride, and we want to feel like we're participating in the construction of a better, especially healthcare system. Because what Cuba has been teaching us is, well, the person is a patient, the patient is a person. We will treat them as such. These are people, and this is what lives matter. Because what we do matter, and we want to contribute all our time here spent. It's not a sacrifice in terms of when we think of it as our country. We're doing it for the people of Belize, and this is something we do truly love. And this is something that Belizean students are shining in. That is absolutely just factual. And a shout out to my mom, my sisters, love you.
Say their names so
You
they
can say
can
their
feel
names,
so
yeah.
proud.
Yeah.
My mom, Tanya Navarrete, my sisters, Sian, Stacy, Tanya, Celine.
Okay.
So I want to, Mom, Karen Jacobs, if you're there listening, I know you're listening, Mom, but I want to tell you, good morning, and I love you, and I really miss you. Can't wait to see you next year or whenever I get to go home.
All right, Thomas.
I just want to say shout out to my dad. He's working hard. Love you, Dad. Take care. My brothers, my friends, everyone back home. Be safe.
What's Dad's name?
What? Yeah.
Thomas.
All right. So just before you guys leave, I really and truly get the sense of unity, of course. But it is a fun Friday, and I've got one question for you guys. and you put your heads
Okay.
together to get this one. Fun Friday. Who sing I Wanna Who Say Creole Nagano Culture?
Lila Vernon.
You guys had the last word. That was too easy, right? But I mean,
That
you
was
know,
too easy. Yeah.
But
I
thank you
thought you were
guys.
gonna ask them to show some of the dance moves they learn in Cuba,
Guys, thank you so very much, man.
keep your spirits up. We hope that someone will be able to get things sorted for you to get the help you need. Thank you for sharing your story with us.
Thank you as well for giving us the time to share our story with the whole of Belize.
All right,
Thank
we
you very much.
appreciate it. Take care.
It's always a nice time to have conversations with our brothers and sisters all over the world, all right? But we're about to take that break, and when we come back, it's all about coconut lobster fritters. Yeah, Grace flavor with a beat. That's coming up in just a few. Stay with us.
This COVID update was brought to you by Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.